Hello people of the internet, so I'm the Communist Penguin, and welcome again to Space Engineers for another Let's Build. Today we are going to be constructing something a bit different. We're not actually going to be building something inspired by Warhammer, as I've normally done. This is completely original design. Yeah, we're going to be building a military carrier, as you can probably tell from the title of this video. So yeah, it's for a competition. That's sort of half why I'm doing it. By a YouTuber known as Ronin Samurai. I'll probably link him in the description or possibly on screen now. So yeah, feel free to check him out. Let's jump right into it. Okay, to start off, we're going to be building some fighters to go in the carrier. All the fighters are going to be the same, and we're going to try and fit 6 of them, I reckon, in there. So for this, I've actually my design in my head. I wanted to make it look a little bit similar to the what's it called, Aurora from Star Citizen. That's what it's called. So yeah, I obviously we can't have glass at the front though, so I wanted to have a cockpit made out of like unfinished blocks. So at the moment I'm just moving around the ship because I needed to get because unfortunately the unconstructed blocks for a small ship, they still have a flat side on one side of the block. So I had to rotate the ship around and do some crazy stuff to get it so it's not actually blocking the vision. So yeah, having this at the front should mean that it'll have a bit more armor, but you should still be able to see out the cockpit, which is handy. So yeah, we're gonna stick with 2 machine guns and 2 rocket launchers, I think. A sort of, even multi-role fighter style thing. I haven't really built a proper fighter. Actually, no, I have built I haven't really built a proper fighter in creative mode. I've built a few in survival that are okay, but never one for actually like taking down other fighters. So I have no idea if this is actually going to be effective or not. So yeah, I want to get it so that it can connect to a to the carrier, and my idea is I'm going to have a connector block on the bottom which connects to a connector on the carrier, as well as a pipe which some engineer is going to have to place in for it to refuel, and then it automatically refuel the reactors and the machine guns, and then it can just break the pipe, undock, and it's way to go. So I had to design somehow this connector block into the bottom of the ship, which was quite awkward actually. I had to do some fiddling around with it a bit later on, but yeah, it doesn't seem to protrude much from it, so I think it's alright. So yeah, we just stuffed in all the reactors and the gyroscopes into that central bit of the ship. I do tend to find that I tend to have too much room almost to the inside of my fighters. Otherwise, they end up being shorter than I'd like, but oh well. So we're just gonna add some little fin things on the back just to make it look a bit more stylish, because star points. Just so it doesn't look like a tube of death, because if you're gonna have a fighter, you gotta have it looking good. You know what I mean? So yeah, if you can see on the side there, I have some the connectors or whatever they're called, which ejectors. That's it. So they're for shooting out. They'll shoot out items if you switch them on, which is basically it acts like a flare system, and it will distract enemy turrets. It's sort of thing I learned in survival mode. It's handy for taking down enemy ships. But yeah, I was just flying around then to test it out, see if I got enough gyroscopes and reactors and stuff. And now I'm starting to give it a paint job. So for the main ship, I'm gonna have the red, cream, and sort of grey colour scheme that I had for my Inquisitor station, because it is going to be part of the Physics Inquisition fleet, because might as well. For the actual fighter, I've gone for more of a bluey white, but I've still got the red on there, so it still looks like part of the fleet, but it's a little bit different. Oh yeah, I was just testing out the missile launchers then. I think I had them positioned wrong, so it just blew up the ship from the inside, which is never good. So yeah, what I do here, I have 2 gyroscopes for normal flying, so I get half of them, and I set them to something called combat mode. So if you're in combat, you can switch on those gyroscopes for some more maneuverability. Anyway, now we're going into the carrier itself. So the first bit doing the carrier, I've just built this default sort of hangar U shape here, nothing fancy, just so I can get I need to figure out how I'm going to get the connector system to work. So first I just have a connector on a stick to see if I can actually dock it. and I have quite a lot of problems getting it in because the connector itself on this ship is like it's like inside the ship, so it's hard to do it. So in the end, I get the connector and I like put it on a block, so it's sticking out from the ship a bit more, and that sort of helps. It does mean the connector's a bit more exposed, but yeah. Oh, when I say connector, I mean merge block. Sorry, I keep calling it connector. So anyway, that we've got the merge block will actually work now, but now we need to build a smaller version for the deck. So this one, it's going to have some piping underneath it, and we're going to want a collector connected. You see on the deck, we've got a thing that ejects items. So that will eject items into the collector of this like dock part, and then obviously that will pipe into the fighter. So we can see that works there, just about fits in. There's also a small container on there as well, just so it can store a backup of resources. So yeah, I think I'm just tweaking it now, and then yeah, I'm just gonna copy paste it across the ship. So we're gonna have 6 of these docked in here. Just nothing fancy. We'll just have them in like 2 rows of 3, and then I'm gonna have there's gonna be quite a lot of space above it so that they can fly over the ships in front of them. So there we go. All of them are in there, and I think now we're gonna start constructing the hangar for the ship. I had to think a while about this because I wasn't sure if I was gonna have the hangar entrance at the front or the back of the ship. Obviously, traditionally you'd have it at the front, but I guess I don't know, because in an aircraft carrier they just take off from the top rather than anywhere specific. But yeah, in the end I decided to have it at the back just because it makes them less likely to get shot from enemy stuff. So yeah, now I'm just adding some ruffering and some extra armor to the side of the hangar. I always like to put these bits, sticking out from the side of the ship. It makes it look a bit, it adds depth, which is important, and making things look good. I sort of end up making it look a bit like some sort of landing craft almost, with the lines going at the bottom. You can't really tell so much in the final build, but I think it looks alright. You could see then as well, I was adding in the connectors and all the what are they called? All the piping and stuff, so it's all connected up. So yeah, now we're going to build the engines, the main engines on the back. I'm going to have these coming, they're going to extend out over the hangar bay, which is going to add the hangar a bit more cover, which is the main point of having there. Also adds a bit more space to put stuff in. So I have got a really massive hangar, really massive engine thing is going to go on here. I think then I was just testing out. What was I doing then? Oh, I was testing out power, I think. So yeah, just adding the bit to go around the engine bay here. The large engines are annoying to build around because even though like the engine covers up like just like a 2x2 section in the middle, you can't put like blocks over the front of it because it'll probably work with like a slanted block, but it doesn't actually work in the game. It'd be cool if they added that, but what are you gonna do? So here we have, I put 2 large engines on the side here, pointing at the back. If this was real, obviously it would just make it spin around and horrible stuff, but it's not real, so it's fine. Just adding some gyroscopes here. I got rid of most of these in the end, but I just wanted them in there just so I could turn things, in case stuff went wrong. So now we're starting to build the main deck of the ship. So the sort of plan is we've got the hangar at the bottom, you can see, and obviously the engines behind them. We can have a main sort of hangar area, so a main sort of area above the hangar. We'll have a couple of floors of that, and then we'll have some stuff sticking out the front as well. So here I built some nacelles, always very handy. Nacelles, you can stick lots of engines in them. So I got some down pointing engines and some forward pointing engines in these mainly. But I do have some extra back pointing engines as well, which I realised I could easily squeeze in. So I've got some extra thrust. Again, trying to add some texturing and some depth to these nacelles. Lots of engines on the back there. It's surprising how many you can fit. I don't know what the actual difference is between like 6 small engines and 1 large engine, because they have the same like surface area, but the large engine takes up more volume, so I hope they actually are better. Okay, here we go. I don't know what that black screen was. Never mind. Okay, so yeah, now we're starting to construct the sort of the first deck. This is the main deck where most of the parts of the ship are going to be going. I'll take you a tour around the completed interior afterwards. I don't do the interior on camera because it's not as interesting to watch, and it's also more awkward because like the camera's moving around much more than it is now because you're trying to fly between like individual rooms. So we're going to start building on top of this initial the initial deck area. This is going to be sort of the upper deck, and then we'll build the bridge on top of this. So yeah, I'm putting some windows here. There's going to be less windows on this top bit here. In the end, I turn this into the main crew deck. So they don't need as many windows. They're just it's very Spartan for some of these rooms. Okay, so I apologise for these black screens. They only come up after the render, and considering how it takes 2 hours to render, one of these, it doesn't make much sense to go back over it. Okay, here we go. As you can see, I have done the bridge. It actually didn't take long to do the bridge, so I don't think you've missed much. I used a lot of. This is the first time I've used the ramp parts in a build. I tend to not use them because I just think they're awkward to use because you can't have the corner pieces. But if you can use them, they do look very nice. So I highly recommend trying it if you haven't tried it before. So I've got the slope back bit of the bridge here. I use a couple of these vent window things. You can't actually see these from the interior, but I think they add like some sort of exhaust style thing to the feel to the ship. So now I'm extending this topper deck here because I want to extend the front of the ship, and at the moment it's very I've only built the top bit like very much at the back of the ship, and I want it to extend forwards a bit as well. So I start doing that, but I'll come back to it later. So I'm extending the bottom part first, I decide, because I want to see how much I want it to go out forward, and then I'll extend the upper decks. Most of this front section hasn't actually got much in it when I finish it. It's mainly just it's going to have some weapons mounted in it, but it's mainly just sort of a buffer zone for the carrier getting shot from the front. So here we go, I'm carrying on the upper decks a bit here. I think I had I just add some brief interior sections so I can figure out where things are later on, but nothing much. So you see, I've added those two upper. I've added the front of the front of the prow. Is it the prow or is it the bow of the ship? I think. And I put an eye in there for Inquisition, obviously. So yeah, this is I think the extent of how far it extends out. That I got the frame in place. Now I just got to add the details and stuff. So I have actually too wide here because I added some depth, some basic, almost just engraving to the front of it. So I end up with this like too thick like walls at the front. So here I extend on the top of the deck here. It's just mainly a long corridor, really, not much. I can't really put much in there. So I just added some thrusters there because I realised I didn't really have any upwards facing thrusters. And yeah, I added a frontal rocket battery there. So that's 9 rockets, which is quite a lot, to be honest. But it should tear away any frigates or anything that come to destroy the ship. And now I added some antennas there as well, just to make it look a bit more pointy. They don't actually do anything as of yet, if you didn't know. But yeah, they do look cool. So now finally I'm adding the colours. I normally add the colours afterwards. If I can manage to, I'll do the colours when I'm building, which is what I did with the Eldar Dragon ship video. If you haven't seen that, go to my channel. I'm very pleased with that build. It's one of my favourites. But yeah, if you can do the painting whilst you're building, it's harder because like it's a bit awkward to try and get the colours done. But it does speed up things quite a lot because painting the ship does take a long time, especially if you're going to do an interior, because then you normally have to work the interior around the colour scheme as well. Well, I say that I normally use sort of a grey interior block thing for the interior, but the bits where the interior meets the exterior of the ship, you get weird things where the block is painted like cream or whatever, and it looks weird, and you can't change it to like an interior block because it will show on the outside of the ship, so it just gets a bit awkward. But yeah, I'm going with the obviously black, cream, and red. Red being the main primary colour, with the black and cream being highlights. So I sort of go for an alternating lines, and then the front of the ship I add much more detail to the colour. See, I've got two sort of cream lines going in there. And then I add some sort of stripes at the front here. So, here you can see the completed ship. I've done the interior and made a few changes. As you can see, I added some turrets on the side, and there's also a docking port right on the top of the ship. Fortunately, I didn't actually think about these when I was designing the ship, so they're more just plastered on where I could find access to, like, you know, the piping system, which is rather unfortunate, but, you know, oh well. So yeah, as I've said, I've done the interior off camera, so I'll give you the tour of the ship. We just go back to normal mode. I was in F8 mode, in spectator mode there. This is, as you can see, this is the view from one of the fighters. You can see we've got the little iron sights from using the antenna that I've grinded down. So just demonstrate how fast this goes and stuff. It's got a couple of machine guns, some rocket launchers, you know, the normal stuff. Yeah, that's not what we're here to see. We're here to see the carrier more than the fighters, I think. So if we just fly this one inside, we've got some aeroplane lights here. I say aeroplane because they're the same sort of lights they have on an aeroplane. So if we come into this hangar here, we can spin around. Before we land, we have to disable these thrusters here, because these thrusters are, you see, right next to that merge block, and they'll melt basically the landing pad if we land with those on. So oh shoot, did that a bit quickly. So if we just line up the merge things, there we go, and then just slam it in, boom. There. So if we can get out now, or turn off the reactors, and I'll show you around the ship. So firstly, these things here, these are connectors, I think, and they shoot out items from, you know, the ship's internal reserves into this collector here, and they will basically, as an engineer, when this thing comes to land, the idea is you just bong one of these in, fills up all the components, and then you'll have a grinder on you as well. You can just grind it away pretty easily, actually. They don't take much, and then the ship can obviously undock and fly away. So you know, it can fairly quickly reload and stuff, but obviously they have to manually reload rockets because you can only access rockets from the front, and they're also going to have to obviously weld any broken parts. But yeah, that's sort of how it will work in a combat situation. So we're going to go inside the ship now. This is the airlock, the hangar airlock. Obviously airlocks don't do anything in the game since there's no actual air in the game at the moment, but it's still cool to have one. So yeah, this is the ship's magazine where all the ammunition is stored. So these 12 crates here would have, you know, all the storage for bullets and missiles and anything explosive. We also got here a container. This one loads all the fighters. So they just put all the stuff in here and it refuel them with uranium and bullets. This one refills the ship's weapon systems. Well, with the exception of a couple of the Gatling guns which aren't connected to this. Right, so if we go up here, I will show you, this is the main deck here. We have the reactors lined across the middle. I was going to have a reactor room, but we didn't have enough space. So we just got them going along this main corridor with some nice blue lighting. So, first, let's go in here. These front two rooms are not very well armoured, so they're basically the most non-essential rooms. This one's the recreation room, where the crew will just chill out. So we've got a snooker table. And, yeah, just some space for the crew to sit around. Across from here, we have the mess hall. We've got a couple of tables for eating on. We also got this place where they'd serve up food and possibly cook food in this, maybe. I don't know. Use your imagination. So, yeah, they're, like I said, they're most non-essential, so they're in the weakest parts of the ship. Here we have one of the more stronger parts of the ship. This is the command room. This is where you go if the bridge has been destroyed or is considered too dangerous to be in combat. See, we've got some, as you can see, we've got some heavy armor here, and it's quite well defended with some cockpits. Not much visibility though. Medical room, you know, nothing complicated in there. Also, a couple of small cargo bays for any extra stuff they want to be carrying around. But right at the back here, this is above. That shouldn't be that colour. That's annoying. This is above the exit of the hangar, and this is the engineering room. So we have like a refinery and some assemblers. So the ship should have enough stores and stuff to last it for its journey. But in case they need to build anything, they've got the facilities to do so. So we'll go up to the next floor, I think. This is the main. This is basically where all the crew live. All these doors are open for some reason. This floor can hold 16 crew. It's mirrored on both sides. So we got 4 people in this room, 2 in this room. I'll go inside so you can see. This room along here also has 2 people, although they do have a view, which is quite nice. Yeah, it's, like I said, mirrored on the other side. We also have this section in the middle. This crate feeds to the reactors below, so this is where you put your uranium in. And also, if you can see up here, we have a secret extra storage. I've used these catwalk blocks, the steel catwalk, this one here, to basically add an extra floor in for free, which is pretty nice. This container here actually leads to a turret above, because I couldn't hook it up to the pipe system. We also, right at the front here, we have, this is the armory. We've got some containers where all the guns and stuff, like machine guns and stuff, would be stored in case of boarding actions. And we also have an external docking port for if it's connect to a station. I was going to show you the bridge now, but I just realised I think I missed a couple of rooms. If I just quickly go to them. Yeah, here. These are the luxury rooms for like the captain and any special guests. So we've got this one. A single bed here. And nice view. And another one. Not the, well, same sort of format, but a bit thinner. So yeah, basically the only difference is they get a window and, you know, privacy. Only one person to a room is quite nice. So yeah, this ship can hold 18 crew in total, which is, you know, you're gonna want what, 6 for the fighters, you know, a couple of command crew, and that leaves you 8 extras for like engineers and etc. So finally, we'll go to the bridge. You know, pretty empty. Probably should add another command chair maybe, but it's alright as it is, I think. So yeah, here we go. Here's the ship. Weighs 2.5 million tons. No, 2.5 thousand tons. And then, so yeah, 2.5 million kilograms. That's right. So yeah, fairly maneuverable. I'll go forwards. It's got quite a lot of forwards engines. Rotation speed's not the best. It only sort of goes over power if you thrust forwards and like another direction, if you can look at the power. Also, apparently when I press control it fires the missiles. I forgot about that. I'll just show you. Because yeah, we've got 9 missiles, 9 launches on the front of this ship. Which is quite a lot, I think. So it should be able to take care of any frigates or anything that come and try and take it out. Just another note as well, you can see on the top we have a collector. This is so if it was on a station, you could possibly have a pipe thing that, you know, pipe stuff into it. That pipe, I think, is connected to the reactors, and I don't think it's connected to anything else. So it's purely for loading, you know, uranium. But anyway, yeah. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, and tell your friends, and maybe subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.